Hello, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to talk about generational wealth. I am going to share with you 6 ways to build generational wealth. Let's get into it. So what is generational wealth? Generational wealth is simply wealth that is passed on from one generation to the next. The reason why building generational wealth is so important is because it gives your children and your grandchildren a head start in life. Imagine what your life could have been if your parent had the ability to fund your college education. This single action could have a tremendous effect on your financial future. Instead of playing catch up to pay down your student loan debt, you could be saving or putting down money towards your first home or investing into your future retirement. Keep in mind that minority families are behind when it comes to building generational wealth. This is due to the racial wealth gap. So if you're a minority, building generational wealth is even more critical for you. Okay, let's dive into how you can also start building generational wealth for yourself, for your children, and for your grandchildren. The first thing you can do to start building generational wealth today is to start investing early. So whether you invest in stock market or real estate, the goal is to start early, especially with the stock market. It doesn't matter how much you invest. You just need to start somewhere, even if it's just $100 a month. My favorite way of investing is investing in the index funds. If you've never heard of those, they're usually super low risk and they're almost guaranteed to grow at least at a rate of about 10% over a long period of time. Most of these well-known financial platforms offer these kind of investments, like Vanguard, Schwab, and Fidelity. They all offer the index fund. As far as real estate goes, the easiest way to get into real estate is to start with house hacking. In most cases, it allows you to start very early with your primary residence. So if you don't know house hacking is when you basically rent out a part of your primary residence. So maybe a room or a part of it. If you have a duplex, for example, you rent out one of those. And then the rent you receive from the tenant can be used in most cases to cover the mortgage. And then you can save some money that you can invest in stock market, or you can save for a down payment for another house. Another way to start building generational wealth is to invest in your children's education. There are multiple ways you can do this, but the 2 ways I want to talk about today is to start a college fund for them and start teaching them about personal finance at a very young age. The earlier you start teaching your children about personal finance, the more financially savvy they will become. So start teaching your children how to invest early and the tremendous and exciting benefits of how your money can work for you. It is estimated that 70% of families lose their wealth in the second generation, and 90% of families lose their wealth in the third generation. And this can be avoided with financial education. The third way to build generational wealth is to focus on buying assets and not liability. I learned in my favorite personal finance book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, that the difference between the rich and the poor is that rich people focus on buying assets and poor people focus on buying liabilities. So what is an asset? An asset is simply anything that you buy that will bring you more benefit or more assets in the future. On the other hand, liabilities are anything that would just cost you more money over time, usually lose their value pretty quickly, like a car. Now, don't get me wrong. My motto in life is to always live in moderation and do everything in moderation. So every once in a while, I do indulge myself in, for example, a nice car, right? So find what works for you, but the key takeaway is to just remember to have more assets than you have liabilities. Okay, the fourth way you can build generational wealth is to start your own business. Starting a business is easy. Starting and maintaining a successful and profitable business, it's extremely hard. If you're an entrepreneur like me and have that entrepreneurial spirit, you know that it is completely worth it in the end. One of the easiest ways to build generational wealth is to start a family business and pass it on to your children and them to their children. When you're a business owner, you pay yourself first before you pay anyone else, including the government. And you get so many tools at your disposal to put away tax-free money. Let's move on to number 5. So the 5th way you can build generational wealth is to get life insurance. Life insurance is the number one tool used by wealthy families to build generational wealth. It is the easiest way to ensure that you do not leave your children with liabilities like paying for a mortgage that they may not be able to afford, which could result in foreclosure of your house. Many of these well-known wealthy families use life insurance to build their family wealth. Take the Rockefeller family, for example. They basically use life insurance policies to create their own bank. So members of the family can borrow money from the bank for their own use, like starting a business, for example. Consider buying a term life insurance if a whole life insurance is too expensive for you. You can buy a term life insurance for a certain period of time when you may expect your kids to still need you or need your assistance if something were to happen to you before they come of age. Alright, so the 6th and final way to build generational wealth is to use legal tools and techniques to pass on that wealth. Perhaps the most overlooked way of passing on generational wealth by the average American family. This is mostly because the average American family is not educated and so do not know that they can also use legal tools like a trust to pass on generational wealth in a manner that it will almost surely avoid the involvement of the government, be it the court system or the IRS, in their business. At my law firm, Lawan Law Group, we strive to educate and provide these tools to all families, including an average American family, so that they can also take advantage of these tools and use them to pass on generational wealth. I almost always have some sort of estate planning and passing on generational wealth class going on at my law firm. So if you're interested, be sure to check out my website using the links down below and register for any upcoming class or download the already existing classes so that you can also learn about the different tools you can use to help pass on generational wealth in your family. Thank you so much for watching this video. This is a high-level overview of just a few of my favorite ways to build generational wealth. If you want me to expand on any of these things, please leave it in the comments below. I'm happy to make videos on these things. And if you have any questions, as usual, leave them in the comments or feel free to schedule a free call with me. I will see you on my next video.